Hey everybody, I'm finally back to doing some gardening in February. We've actually had some warmer days, and so I finally decided I'm getting outside and finishing some of the things that I didn't finish this fall. So number one is finishing cleaning out my vegetable garden. As you can see, I didn't get to the one side, and so I cleaned this side out, but not the other side in the fall, and so it's time to get this prepared because it will come before we know it that I will need to be planting things out in this garden. I know it's only February, but time seems to fly up until the time that I need to start planting things out. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to finish cleaning out my veg garden. As you can see, I still have zinnias that are dried, and I left the seeds for the birds as much as I could, but I do still have a lot more to do, and I need to go ahead and pull those up. I need to pull some of the old plants up, and that's what I'm going to do today. So I am bringing in my cart, and that cart will fill up pretty quickly, but I will be able to not compost that this time. As I've mentioned before, in the high desert, because we have such arid air, things don't compost very quickly. So I do put some things back into the soil to let them compost over winter, but there's a lot of it that it's not going to break down. It's definitely not going to break down before I need to start planting things. So those things I will put in the garbage. Now I'm doing a quick trim on all of my herbs. So I do have several herbs that are perennials, including oregano, and the oregano spreads pretty quickly. I also have thyme in here and some parsley, and so I need to trim all those. And while I'm at it, I'm finding some of the plant tags that I need to pull up, and so I'm going to grab those and take those inside too, and just get all of this cleaned up. This is the oregano, and as I said, it just gets bigger and bigger every year, and I just need to trim it down so that when it does warm up and it starts growing, those new leaves are not fighting through all of this dead extra leaves and branches. So here's the amount of green waste that I have pulled up from this side of the garden. And as I said, I do compost some things, but I'm to the point where I need to now just dispose of anything else that I have been able to clean out of here. And that's why I have it in the cart. This all looks so much better to me, and it makes me feel so much better that this job is now complete. And when the time comes that I am ready to plant things in this garden, the garden is ready for me. Now I want to show you other things that are in my garden. These are rosemary plants that I grew from cuttings. And I know on camera they don't look very good, but they are still alive. And I want to make sure they stay alive because I do have plans for those in our front yard. The other thing I'm doing today is making sure I pull up all of my cloches and any cages that I need to remove, so that because I am going to be growing some different things this year, I may rearrange, or most likely will rearrange, where I plant things. So I want to make sure I get all of those things out of the garden again, just to prepare it for the time when things are ready. As you can see, I've been pulling up a lot of plant tags, and here are my cloches I've got a stack over here, and we're getting this all good and clean. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is trimming some of my bushes, and then I'll be heading over to my flower garden. So you see my Russian sage here. This is my really large one. I don't trim it until like late winter, early spring, because I leave the seed heads for all the birds. But today I am going to go ahead and trim this smaller one, and you'll see I trim it really close to the ground. Then we're heading over there to the flower garden. And as I said, I trim my Russian sage really close to the ground. These things grow really fast during the season. You can see how tall it is compared to me, and it will get that way again, even trimming it all the way to the ground, or almost all the way to the ground. I do leave some, few inches or so. Okay, I just wanted to show you how far down I actually do trim them, this Russian sage. And you can see I leave a few inches on the stems, but not much more than that. And now I'm on to trimming my Nepeta. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different plants. And I leave them again till winter time, late winter, early spring sometimes. But I'm going to trim these today because I do have warm temperatures and I want to get this stuff done. I will trim these all the way to the ground. Now onto my flower garden. So I do have perennials in here and I do have annuals. So some of these, as you can see, I'm going to trim them, and they do have seeds on them. So I'm going to shake the seeds and let them just spread as much as they can. That is the Bells of Ireland, I believe, that I just cut. But I do have zinnias in here remaining, and those are annuals. I'm going to pull those up. I have calendula, and that is spread by seed, so they will come back. I have lamb's ear in here, I have some gomphrena in here, and I'm going to clean all of it up. By the way, I'm doing a quick trim of my lamb's ear. It will die back again, because we're going to have cold temperatures again, and I will come in and do a really good cleanup of it later. One of the things I will caution you guys of is make sure you wear gloves when you're cleaning out your garden. I think it was last year or maybe the year before when I cleaned out my lamb's ear when I was cutting it back. I was thankful I had gloves on because I found a mouse nest in my lamb's ear. They get really big and they're a really great place for mice to hide. So I was happy not to have touched that mouse nest directly. Now the last thing I'm going to be doing today as far as cleanup is trimming my muley grass. So again, I leave these until late winter, sometimes early spring, because they do have seed heads on them, and I like to leave things for wildlife. Now, one thing I have found that this time of year is probably the best time for me to cut these because I can cut them back really far. If I wait till early spring, then I usually have some green growth coming and I don't want to cut the green growth. and so I can't cut them back as low. So I do think this time of year is best for me, and it's easy. You just grab them like a ponytail and then trim them all. You have it all in your hand, and you can easily just pick it up and clean it up. Now the very last thing I'm going to do to get my vegetable garden ready is rake up any extra green waste that there is, just to get it where it's easy to plant things. Now I am going to water my green onions, that's what you see here, and anything else that is still growing, because we've had a very dry winter and I just want to make sure they get some moisture. Now I've decided while I'm out here that I'm going to go ahead and pull up some of my green onions. As you can see, these have gotten very large. They look like leeks, and I think it's time to pull up some of them because the taste does get changed a bit when they get to be so large. And so I'm just going to pull up a few. Still have plenty left in here, but going to give them a little bit more room. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video and it's been helpful for you. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.